LinkedIn, you know how we do this. Get into the comments. Make sure you're letting us know you're watching this live or on the replay. Here we go.
He challenged me. He said, you should meet 2 or 3 people every day.
We're talking about how to level up on LinkedIn and engagement, being the go-giver, the idea that being open to opportunity.
We all deal with challenges, but how do you overcome that?
Master Connector with Steve Spiro and Cameron Toth is live on air.
So Steve is reminding me as we jump into this show to make sure my background's in Master Connector, blue back here. And I'm just going to show everybody here the Toth Event staffing background because I wanted to brag a little bit about, today's show is about making a personal impact. And so I come to you guys live every week, and Toth Event Staffing is like the unofficial sponsor of this show because this is kind of what powers my involvement and allows me to do this, the income, all that jazz. It's a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to show everybody a photo from this Saturday. We do an annual event, which the last time we did this annual event was in 2020. Because of the pandemic and all that jazz. So I'm going to show off my folks here. So bear with me as I'm pushing buttons here, but this is my folks, right? So this is all of us on Saturday night. We did this event, and then after that, we hung out. We had about 28 of my staff hanging out at Pete's Saloon in Elmsford, New York. So that's just one of the ways that I'm trying to make a personal impact. We treated everybody a couple rounds of drinks and food, but it was a lot of fun and really personally rewarding. So I wanted to shout out my team because they definitely helped make my involvement in this show possible. So that's what today's show is all about. We're going to talk about personal impact in a lot of different ways. So Steve, I'm going to change back over here to Master Connector Blue, and we'll get it going. So Steve, get us into the topic officially today, and just to, again, shout out to my team at Toth Event Staffing. Really appreciate them for making what we do here possible, at least for me.
Absolutely, and that looks like a cool group of people you got there.
Thank you. And they had the blue behind them, so they were on brand, right?
There you go. Big company, Regeneron too. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, what's going on, friend? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think you are? You're not worthy. What makes you so special? People like us don't live in houses like that. You'll never amount to anything. Have you ever heard those? Maybe you've actually said it. I hope not. Or maybe you've said it to yourself. How about words like, you are amazing. Anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish. You have a seed of greatness within you. I believe in you. I see something special in you. You have so much potential talent. We all have influence in making impact on people. Good or right? For me, true success is kind of what Cameron's talking about. True success is how many people are truly better because we were here, right? And so today we're going to talk about the power of personal impact. And this man has truly, he has truly continues to impact. This is going to be a very impactful show. So put your seat, if your safety belts are on and you're ready, strapped on, we're going to have Cameron introduce, excuse me, still residual cough there, our amazing guest. If you're ready, type in the comments right now, #unleash, and we're going to get Cameron to introduce him in the way he does just best. Cameron, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. So get into the comments right now. Hashtag unleash your inner beast. Don't be a LinkedIn stalker. Get in there, get into the comments. We want you to show up and we want you to network in the comments. That's really important for us. I also want to remind you, if you haven't let us know today where you're tuning in from, right? And I know you're watching. I know we got people on here. I'm looking at the StreamYard feed as we speak. And I know that, the numbers are ticking up and there's at least 10 plus people watching right at this moment. So get in there. And thanks, Yolanda, for being amazing. She is tuning in from Frisco, Texas. I'm tuning in from Valhalla, New York. Steve is coming to you live from Stamford, Connecticut. Ryan, just real quickly, where are you tuning into? Where are you broadcasting from today?
Live from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina is in the house. So let us know where you are tuning in from. We got Parker Reynolds. He is letting us know to unleash this thing here. Garrett's letting us know to unleash. Yolanda's letting us know to unleash this thing. Parker's coming to us from Columbus, Ohio. Garrett is coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, baby. I love it. I love seeing that. I never get tired of hearing where you're tuning in from. So the man that's coming to us live from Charlotte, North Carolina, North Kakalaka. Let's get it going. This is Ryan Shockner. Ryan Shockner, a must-win. He's the founder and CEO of a must-win, despite having dyslexia, as I read that word crazy, right? He became an international best-selling author, was named in the top 10 entrepreneurs entrepreneurs for 2022 by Entrepreneur Magazine. He's a keynote speaker and one of the biggest change agents in the high school and collegiate name, image, and likeness, the NIL space, helping student athletes learn the lessons it took him 41 years to figure out. Please welcome to the show, the radical, the psychedelic, Ryan Shockner. Ryan, introduce yourself. Just say hello to the folks real quick.
Hey, I appreciate it. I got a lot to live up to with that intro, so here we go.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, I want to shout out everybody that's checking in here. We got more people coming in. Gula Cordis, so hopefully I'm saying that name right. You'll correct me if I'm not. Coming to us live from London. Thank you so much for checking in. Philip Lagano, Philip, the man, Phil, walking in the room, want to make some connections. Excellent. So you should be clicking on people's profile, hit a new tab over there. Save it for later if you can't do it if you're on a single screen, but definitely get into the chat here and make some connections. Chelsea, tuning in from Dallas, Texas. Unleash, let's go. Susan, nice to see you once again. Hello, Steve, Cameron, and Ryan here from Ontario, Canada. Let us know. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We want to keep seeing that as we're going along here. I never get tired of it. Steve, get us started here.
Listen, you never get tired of, because this community is amazing, and we love everyone here that here and show up. And I'm showing up the best I can with this little call.
You're doing well. You want me to ask this first question, Steve, or you got it?
Sure, why not? Go for it.
Here we go. I'll get it going for you. We'll save Steve's voice a little bit here. So for my folks here, if you are with me right now, if you're listening, if you're with me, if you're truly present in the moment, I want you to put into the comment bar hashtag how, because Ryan, we want you to know, right? We want you to let us know, how did you get involved in the name, image, likeness, and the shortcut, I'm sure we'll be saying this rather than saying name, likeness, and image all day, or name, image, and likeness all day, is NIL space. So for anybody that's watching this, NIL, when we talk about NIL or NIL space, name, image, likeness space for college athletes, huge. Talk to us how you got involved with that.
Yeah, it was really quite on accident. So you mentioned, I'm dyslexic. I was never the strongest student. And for 24 years leading up to NIL going live, I was a financial advisor. I had my own financial planning firm, a number of different states. And I had a young man reach out to me. He played basketball in college and he was looking for an internship, super sharp kid, and finance major. And when I started asking him the basic finance questions, he couldn't really answer. And so come to find out, they didn't really do a whole lot at the school he went to from a personal finance, financial literacy standpoint. And so I went and put together a presentation that turned into a book. In the editing process, I got introduced to, a ton of current and former pro athletes, and they all kind of got behind the project. And the book launched 5 days after NIL went live. And so I was kind of thrust into the dialogue by virtue of a personal finance book geared towards college athletes and professional athletes. And from there, just getting to know a lot of these, professional athletes and college athletes, I saw the talent that they had in life after sports, taking companies from 20 employees to 2,000 employees, building huge real estate empires, franchising businesses that they created. And I thought, hey, what happens to that group that doesn't make it pro and get the confidence and the financials to make that next leap into their life after sports?
And this is a relatively new space. I mean, we're talking about, the idea that, your collegiate organizations for a long time almost disallowed, right? They basically made it illegal for somebody to make money as a college athlete on anything to do with the sport, which for a lot of people seemed very unfair because the colleges were making money even before you get to like TV rights and that whole thing. They're selling tickets at the stadium. They're selling merchandise and gear based off of the strength of the love of the sports teams, the people that are donating money for college campus buildings and whatnot. They're doing that off of the strength and love for their alma mater sports team. But meanwhile, this guy that's, could potentially go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the team and get a life-changing career, sports career ending, certainly injury, wasn't being compensated in any way. So just kind of talk to us about what this whole name, image, likeness piece is, sort of how that's changed that whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think it's even bigger than those guys and girls that are going to go pro, right? Because as a college athlete, it's a 24/7, 365 job. And that's essentially what it is. And that's even trickled down to the high schools where they're super specialized in a sport at younger and younger. And these athletes, because of the time commitment, weren't able to go get internships, weren't able to, because of the rules, go and connect with alumni and have some of these conversations, weren't able to get part-time jobs to earn an income. And so while they were earning, and the NCAA makes $21 billion with a B dollars a year, and all these, TV rights and all the different revenue streams, these athletes were kind of left out and not able to earn any sort of income, whereas every other student can.
Yeah. And so the creation of this, I mean, I think there was some lawsuits and all that stuff that sort of brought that about. And then I think some people also getting ahead of what they knew was inevitable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So some changes were made. And so you stepped into this space, and we're going to talk about personal impact, because I think this is where it gets into and where people can make a difference. And for everybody that's watching this, you don't need to be a college athlete to benefit from this conversation today. But the idea that, and I talked about it in the post that we put up for this show that got published a little earlier in the day, but you got somebody like Messi, LeBron James, if you're familiar with basketball, you're familiar with soccer. Those are big names, and we usually know them because they're up on big sport boards. And to your point, not everybody that that's involved in sports is on a billboard, or when you go into the Nike store plastered all over the place, and some name that is a household brand. But there's a big reason that somebody potentially could become a household brand, or at least, on the cover of some sort of magazine box. They've made an impact that's a little bit larger, maybe a little bit more splash. For whatever reason, their name, their image, their likeness is out there a little bit more. And I think we all have the ability to elevate our personal brand through our ability to impact people personally. So if you guys are interested in what personal impact is and what kind of impact you can make, I want you to get into the comments. If you're watching, if you're present with us right now, type in hashtag impact. All right. And so what we're looking for here from you, Ryan, is what does personal impact mean to you?
Yeah, so I think everybody goes through this, right? And I had 24 years in the financial services space and still am in it, but I felt like I could do more, right? Like I wasn't really living up to my potential. And now and I just talked to a lady yesterday who was, 16 years in marketing, went back and got her MBA to get into the sports field because we were just operating and going on autopilot, and we didn't really, we all felt and at some point we all feel like we can do something more. And so the difference I took is I just took some action steps and made that happen. It just so happens to be in the collegiate athletic space and really helping people understand their true value, right? And changing some of the subconscious patterns that we and these lies that we tell ourselves. I mean, when I talk to these athletes, it's 80% of what we tell ourselves is negative thoughts, and it comes from trauma, drama, daddy or mama, right? Our lived experiences put these, brakes on what we think we can accomplish. And if we just start, changing that pattern and that dialogue that we tell ourselves, what could we create? And that's what I learned from these athletes who didn't have any specific training and were doing these amazing things in business. And I just said, what are we missing out on as a society with this group of athletes that are so focused on their sport and getting playing time, aren't really utilizing their college opportunity like they should be? And now that some of those rules are off, how can we change that? That subconscious thought pattern to show them, because of who they are, how they see the world, that they can accomplish more and they can be more, and their only out isn't just athletics. How can we change that and help them achieve really what they're capable of?
Absolutely. That's great stuff. What did you say? Drama, mama? What were the ones?
Yeah. Trauma, drama, daddy and mama.
It's pretty crazy. I'm, a while ago, I was watching the Netflix series All American, and it starts out they're in in high school, and then they, the latter seasons move to college, and they get into the NIL part of in the show. I don't know if you've checked it out at all, but some of the show is sort of centered around some inner city, and then of course the Beverly Hills and the high end, but especially that a lot of these players that are coming from inner city situations where they're just trying to make ends meet. They're struggling, and having the extra money from the NIL income is helpful. Not to mention it's truly fair. So, but there is a lot of stuff that they're dealing with, right? That they've dealt with on,
Absolutely,
like you said, the trauma, the mama, and the daddy, and all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, and we all do, right? And regardless of how we grew up, or if it is in Beverly Hills or the inner city, I mean, we all have things that are holding us back, or we're trying to live up to somebody that has accomplished something really great, and we're walking in those shadows, and we don't utilize our gifts to make that impact, and we try and follow somebody else's path versus creating our own. So everybody does it.
So important. So I know it's some of the things you've said is and we want to get into some action. So if you're ready for the next question here, I want you to type in hashtag action, and we're gonna ask Ryan here. Why do you say action is the biggest differentiator? Tell us a little bit about that perspective.
Yeah. So I think we probably all had that experience where an idea or something comes to market, and we think, a product of some type, and we're like, hey, I thought of that, a couple years ago, somebody actually did it. Right. Well, the biggest difference from us making an impact in our own lives is taking that first step and taking the action in order to make something happen. And so, we get stuck in these patterns and we make these excuses, and a lot of it is mental, right? And it's all about changing how we're talking to ourselves, and then creating those steps that are going to allow us to really truly figure out, who we are, getting comfortable with who we are. What are our skills? What are our talents that are so unique to us that we can use to make the impact that we want to make, to serve the groups that we want to serve? And it's that action step, and it's getting off the sidelines to actually make that happen. And it's not, and it's baby steps, right? It's not taking that huge leap. It's one little step after, and then you take the next little step, and eventually the compounding of that leads to big things. So it's all about, movement forward. And if you experience difficulty, or if you stumble, it's learning from it quickly, shrugging it off, and again, taking that next step and moving forward.
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, it's so important. I know that when you're stuck, a lot of times people are paralyzed in action. If you have fear, action creates fear. Action conquers fear, right? And so you just got to act. And it's definitely a great point. Take action for sure. So, all right, we're going to keep moving here. We want to get into the next question here, because we got a few questions and we got some time left here.
Yeah, for sure.
So for the audience, the viewers, our community, we want you to type in #more. And so we want you to tell us, Ryan, why is your belief that we're all capable of more? And yeah. So why do you believe that? Why do you say that?
Because
more
I
than
see,
we know that it.
Yeah, I know it 100%. Right. And so so my role now is very much, keynote speaker. I'm on video a lot. I'm out there. Right. And I never thought that could be me. Actually, if I'm honest with myself, I'm really introverted. Right. But it's taking that step and conquering those fears. And originally it was, what are people going to think about me? And are people even going to watch? Are they going to listen? And again, it was that mental talk that I was telling myself that was kind of bringing down that confidence. And I just realized one day that, hey, that whoever I was looking up to, whether it's, Eric Thomas or a Tony Robbins, at some point, they had those exact same thoughts. Who's going to listen to me? Is anybody going to show up? But they just did it. And then the world reacted accordingly. And so it was that courage just to take that step and realize that, listen, not everybody's going to love me. Not everybody loves me right now. And I have to be good with that. And if I can be good with that, then I'm going to reach the group that I'm meant to reach. And I'm going to have the impact that I want. And I see that with all of these athletes and the things that they're accomplishing that don't get the publicity, that they are having huge impacts. They have hearts that for giving and serving, and they're doing such amazing things, but it's not the flashy stuff.
Talk to me about some examples, just so people are like, because I think, especially because a lot of this stuff isn't in the news, you might hear out now and then, especially with the folks that have bigger bank accounts and whatnot, that they made some splashy donation. But I know almost every sports organization, and it's really incredible, the sports organizations themselves have some sort of impact program that they're involved with. But almost every major NBA player, I was surprised at some of the names that were involved, like on, the New York Knicks. I'm like, who's that guy? And they got a program too, right? So talk to us a little bit about what some of those programs look like.
Yeah, I mean, we have international athletes that are getting NIL money and donating it to the countries that they came from to help refugees. We have, I work with a dancer up at Appalachian State that she is wanted to start her own dance studio and is really kind of into working with special needs kids. And so she donated a session where this, at the Down syndrome gala this past year, where you could win an opportunity to go be an App State dancer for a day. And I saw the young lady that won it. The look on her face was it was priceless, right? And then you have former NFL players that are teaching kids how to read in elementary schools and making it fun. You just have so many of these individuals at every different level that are really, they're trying to make that impact, and they are making that impact.
Let me tell you, I don't know, I haven't verified this, but I know a guy that I trust, Adrian Seeger, who is somebody that has an incredible background. He was posting on, I think it was on Facebook, but that Amazon's program, Smile, I think they call it, where you can donate to your charity of choice. I think that's coming to an end. Hopefully, if somebody knows different, they can correct that. I don't want to put out false news, but he was saying that that's going to end, and I was commenting back on that's one of those programs where I personally feel like it's amazing, because I felt like I was making a personal impact. And, it's not always easy with folks that don't have $1 million bank accounts to provide money to our different interests. And I felt like that was an impetus, not only for me, but for so many people, to make an impact in a way that was fairly easy, and something that, was a part of a transaction that you were probably making anyways. And it's sort of interesting as you're going through the gamut, the international players that are donating back to their countries or countries that they're aware of and have issues. I think when you get the power of the people, you get this ability to have such a greater impact on the world and hit so many different points, because institutionalized, whether you're talking about sexism, racism, all the isms, but particularly just blinders to any other issue outside of, what we know of in our localized experience. It's such a big deal, and we have such a greater impact on the world. I mentioned LeBron James and Messi, and one of the things I wanted to bring up about them in particular, I wish I could throw out, I don't watch college sports, so forgive me, everybody, for the March Madness crazy folks out there. I know there's some big names that come through there, and then some people I could probably mention. But Messi and LeBron stand out to me. We're talking to folks that, have jobs, entrepreneurs, people that are working in organizations, particularly Messi, because they do so much on the court. And yes, they can put up some big numbers, right? They're the big moment, the game winning score, but so often they're responsible for assists on the field. And I think about that in terms of what you're talking about in giving and being a bigger part of our community, whether you're talking about in the local sense, national sense, or international sense. It's about being a great community member, and the fact that we all have that ability to make an impact. And, it's one of those things that I think Steve, I'm going to throw him on the screen, so I'm going to get him ready to put his eyes up. All right. I think it's something that we talk about over and over again on this show, right, Steve, that, doing good, being a go-giver,
Absolutely.
being that guy that's giving the assist. It's the right thing to do, but it also helps you business-wise on every level. It brings all of that good stuff to you. And I think it's such a great move by the NCAA to do this move where college athletes can make money, because it's going to have so much impact on so many different levels. It's the right thing to do, but it's going to be good for business.
It's also good it's refreshing to hear that the college students are actually, giving back to their communities as well, and not just trying to be big ballers because they're getting all this money in. I'm sure they're enjoying it, which they rightfully should and do so, but they're also doing good things with it, which is really refreshing to hear, because, with all the social media stuff, everyone wants to have that big baller lifestyle, right? And it's good to see that. It's like you said, it's the right thing to do, but it also feels darn good when you give to other people. It's like, I love the idea when I give and then see the reaction in somebody's face more than I actually like getting the gift. Usually the gift, honestly, sometimes a little disappointing when you get it during the holidays or birthday, but when you give, it's so rewarding. Anyway, go ahead. You were going to say something, Ryan.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned the LeBrons and the Messis, right? And that's that top 1% of the 1%. And they can, financially, they can set up big things and give back big. But even for those people that don't have anything, any money to give, I mean, that was our dancer at App State. She didn't have money to give, but it was her time, right? It was her time with this individual. And it could be as simple as holding the door for somebody and telling them to have a great day, right? And it could start that small, and then that impact just compounds with that person. That sets them on the right foot. So it doesn't have to be a financial. It can be, again, it can just be time. It could be treating someone nice. It could not be reacting negatively if someone cuts you off. It could be anything. And it's again, it's those little things that then you compound and they add up to the big things.
Absolutely. We're getting close to the end of the show, and it's interesting, right? We're talking about athletes, and we're talking about people that have a lot of talent, right? So we're going to talk about success for a moment, and we're going to dig into this a little bit. So type in hashtag success. Thank you, Cameron, for queuing me up on that one. And, here's the question. We want your perspective, Ryan, because you get around some pretty amazing people. It sounds like some people that I'd like you to introduce me to, because these sounds like amazing people. But here's the question. Do you need to be born into a good family, look a certain way, or have major talent to succeed? I love to hear your thoughts.
I think you define success in different ways, right? And if success for you is being a teacher and being able to have summers off that you can spend with your kids, then that's success, right? If success you define what your success is. You don't let other people define what your success is. But if it is that, hey, I want to become this multimillionaire and grow this huge business and that sort of thing, to me, it's a mindset, and it's building the right team around you, right? It's recognizing what skill sets you have, what you're strong at, and what you're weak at. And even the best athletes, if you look at a Tom Brady, he has players around him and a team around him that pick up where his weaknesses are. And it's doing the same thing for you, and not letting your circumstances that you've come from dictate your future, because especially in today's world, it's so irrelevant where you came from. There's so much opportunity. There's so many people willing to help that it's irrelevant.
Right. No doubt. And I think, number one, we talked about it before, right? In my opening, true success is how many people are better off because you're here, right? It doesn't have to be defined by money. It doesn't have to be defined by material wealth. Right. And sometimes it's an accomplishment of something, right? Like somebody wants to win just be in the Olympics or make it to the NFL, maybe not play at the high level, but make it to the NFL, whatever it is. Right. So it's defined. But I think if you figure out what ultimately that yardstick is, or what that marker is, in my opinion, there's many ways to get there. And you just need to make sure that you're working towards it. And we've seen so many people that are they were not destined to be successful. Prove that you don't have to be, of a special pedigree to be successful. Now, in certain things like sports, having some natural talent, it's going to be hard to make it, right? You can't be a Rudy and make it to the top level NFL. You're just not, right? But look at what he accomplished, right? His accomplished one. He made the tackle, and everyone put him on his shoulder, and he was the hero, right? And if you watch the movie, so success is defined in whatever yours is. But it's so cool that I believe that if you do the work, stay steady, put your nose to the grindstone, get around the right people. You said it before, having a team of people around you that are also like-minded and that are also motivated. I believe, you could accomplish just about anything, right? Within reason, right? So it's awesome. So,
Yeah,
well, good stuff.
absolutely.
This is great. Go ahead, Ryan. We're gonna actually we're gonna start to close down. So if you have a final comment on that topic,
Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's not, and it's you even look at the individuals that have true success. You look at a JJ Watt who just retired, right? He was a tight end walk on at Western Michigan that then had the walk on at Wisconsin that nobody thought would achieve anything in the NFL and a possible Hall of Fame career. So there's talent, but you don't necessarily have to have the best talent. It's putting the right work and action behind it to set a goal and then achieve a goal, and all the rest of it is irrelevant. Even Rudy, it was his work ethic that allowed him to have success.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I think we can all bring to the table. I think, for me, finding that place, and I think we're all trying to find that place. We're all trying to find our greatness, understanding the things that I'm good at, understanding the things that I'm not so great at. I do things, on the business level. I talked a little bit about, Saturday night, we did a nice big event. We came through for our client. We also had a nice event that was a staff appreciation event. So you can do things like that on a professional level as a CEO. Proud of myself. We got people together. They had a good time. We bonded a little bit. We got to know each other, faces that don't normally see each other. They got to see each other. And then on the personal side, you do a lot of these things that sort of correspond in the environment. I got for the first time together because we had been struggling to get my kindergartner Lions from the Cub Scout pack together. And so for the first time, we got that going on. And I had struggled with that. But, it's something that's meaningful and impactful, putting together the soccer team ASO for my 11-year-old, trying to get, as an adult, professional adulting here, trying to get friend groups together, right? The different ways that we create personal impact. And these things all, I think about it, when you think about, folks that are definitely trying to monetize their name, their likeness, their image, right? Steve is there with me, right? In terms of, his wanting to be a professional speaker and going out and making an impact that way. And so we're focused on trying to get that name out there and the likeness, people to recognize who you are, right? That stuff really makes a big difference. It makes a big difference on the check that you can bring in. And then again, you can turn that around and make a greater impact with that, right? And so, it's just a big circle. So I love that you're talking about this. I love that you're working with college athletes. I do a lot of stuff in the college and career space before they get to college. And so for me, when I knew that you were coming on the show, the fact that you're helping students really, really, really maximize their impact so that they can really, really make a difference. Some of which you talked about. It's a big, big deal. So really, really thankful for the work that you're doing, Ryan.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah, no doubt. And I think, Ryan, you and I talked about this. So, I love speaking before college kids because this is the generation coming up that, they were sitting on a couch next to their best friend, right next to to each other, texting each other instead of speaking, right? And so having the ability to connect and communicate, not just on social media, they're great on adding people on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat or whatever it is, right? They're great on that. Then and they're messaging, each other. But when it talks to real connection and real communication, big skill that's missing right now. And so I have a heart to want to help that, that age group.
And I think and to sort of talk to that, right? Because I know there's a lot of young people that would be like, well, I know how to personally connect on Instagram through the DMs in a way that you don't know how to, Steve. So I think it's, every generation's problem is not necessarily mastering, because everybody's got to work on tools, right? No matter what industry you're on, we talked about, leveling up on Canva when you're doing PowerPoint or you're doing Adobe Photoshop before, which Adobe Photoshop is a monster. And I always had difficulties with that. So Canva was something I was able to more easily leverage for me, and so tools, the tools change and that sort of stuff. But the connection thing, actually reaching out personally connecting with somebody, was talking to somebody that has a business that, creates LinkedIn connections, or as a service that sets meetings up through LinkedIn. And we've worked with some folks that do that for us and automate that, but he has people that do that. So people that sort of serve as a virtual assistant go in, help create those things. And I'm, sending his name over to somebody because I had somebody, well, they need to focus and they niche down. And that's a special skill set to be able to reach out through LinkedIn, sound like a human being, and scale that ability to set those appointments up and everything, because we know what it is when we get that message. We talk about it all the time when it's a robotic or it just is a sales message. And so we know whether it's Facebook, Instagram, text message, phone call. I just got a phone call today. You guys all get them, right? Not necessarily the robocalls either. Like, this was a real live person. She's calling me up. She says, hello, I'd like to speak with Cameron. And I'm like, hi, I'm Cameron. It's Toth Event Staffing. How can I help? How can I speak with Cameron? Like, she's not even listening as a salesperson. There's a real live person. I then repeat, this is Cameron, Toth Event Staffing. How can I help you? She said, oh, can I speak with Cameron? I'm like, are you kidding? And then, we get to the meat of the matter. I said, Valerie, what do you
Maybe she was a robo and that's why she wasn't hearing.
No, I'm pretty sure this was a person.
AI is pretty crazy nowadays.
If it was a machine, I'd be really disappointed with the machine. But I'm like, Valerie, what was this call about? And then, there's, for the last, 6 months to a year, if you own a company and haven't been like attacked through every kind of platform on this, earn retention credits thing, everybody and their mother that can get in on this is selling that service, and so you're getting hit from all these directions. So that's what she was. And I was like, yeah, thank you very much. Please take me off your list. And she's going into her sales call. But she was, even if, I was never going to purchase the service, there could have been a personal connection. There could have been a personal impact. Valerie could be somebody that stayed on my radar for years to come. And she blew that opportunity because there was no personal impact. She was a robot. She wasn't there. She wasn't in the conversation. Yeah. Everything was fake about it. She started off, which is a real annoying thing. I don't know you. You don't know me. And she's like, how are you? I'm like, Valerie, this is kid right again, right? And not to be a robot myself, but at the same time, I don't know you. Don't ask me how I am. What's the point of this call? We can get to a point where we know and like and trust each other, but we're not there yet, right? So, it's gotta be something where you're coming through and you're trying to create that awesome personal impact. So we are at 139, Steve. I'm running my mouth. We got to get to crushing it here. Yes, Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us. We want to advertise two things. One, we want to advertise next week, February 1st, our 99th episode, Diane DeResta, Fighting Self-Censorship. That's our show next week. And then we also want to shout out 2 weeks from now, we have some special stuff coming your way. Steve has organized, I don't know how many guests we're at, 15, something like that, Steve. Crazy guests. So we probably got more guests on that show than we're watching live during certain parts of this show today. So I know with everybody coming into that is going to be one that you don't want to miss. So 2 weeks from today, put it on your calendar, put a reminder to yourself. If you can set some time aside, you're going to want to be there for that show. You're going to want to network in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, put that date on your calendar. I believe that's February, is it 8th?
8th, yep.
February 8th, 2023, 1 p.m. Eastern. I want to send a special shout out to every single person that was in the comments today. We appreciate you so much. Garrett, Parker, Yolanda, Ashley, thank you all so much for showing up. Ruthie, John was in the house, Steve. John making an appearance. So many people coming in. Carol, we appreciate you so much.
Phil Rutigliano, our friend TGI Phil. was on.
That's right. That's right. Phil was in here earlier. Yeah. So everybody,
Yeah.
appreciate you so much. We also want to send a special shout out to somebody that supported us in a big way, Jordan Mendoza, who's been a sponsor of the show. And with that being said, let's count down.
All right. We're gonna shut it down. We appreciate you, Ryan. We're gonna shout out to Crush It. We're way
Appreciate
over
it, guys.
here. So just if you can in the comments, community, you type in 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Crush It. We're gonna shout it out, and then we're gonna count with our fingers, and we're gonna crush and smash the camera by putting our fist to the camera. Ready? Let's do it. Ready? 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Crush it! Have an amazing week, everybody. Light this world on fire with your personal impact. Make sure that you're showing up, you're present, and you are delivering on the goals that you want to deliver on. Ryan, we appreciate you so much. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Appreciate you. Here we go.
He challenged me. He said, you should meet 2 or 3 people every day.
We're talking about how to level up on LinkedIn, engagement being the go-giver, the idea that being open to opportunity.
We all deal with challenges, but how do you overcome that?
Master Connector with Steve Spiro and Cameron Toth is live on